It's showtime. Okay, everyone. This is Kirk Bankstead here with the Minocqua Brewing Company. We are streaming on Facebook, Substack, Twitch, even, and YouTube. And I've got a friend of mine, retired Army Colonel George Mason, who we're doing a special thing today because he's come up with an idea that it's just so important right now, and I'm going to back fully from now until the election to make sure that we do have elections. But I wanted to introduce you and let everybody know what you've been doing the last couple of weeks. Because we've been working together to get some folks some aid, and then let's go into this idea about how to save our elections.
Hey, Kirk, thanks, man. It has been a frantic month between Chicago initially and then shifting our efforts up to the Twin Cities. In our last podcast, we talked about what the future might look like.
Yep.
And the fact that the regressive regime might try to do something with the midterms, try to suppress votes, things of that nature. When Renee and I were up in Minneapolis, dropping off stuff and talking to the people in the local impacted areas, we met a couple, and the wife said, "I watched your podcast because we dropped off some stuff at this brewery, which could give you some competition." At any rate, she said, "Oh, you're that guy." So I guess I'm a guy now. At any rate, she said that scared the shit out of me, and I said, "Yeah, and it should." So we touched briefly on that. I want to go into that a little more detail today, but I want to give a quick update on what's going on in Minneapolis. So you everybody heard Tom Homan say we're going to draw down 700 agents. The normal allocation of CBP ICE agents in Minneapolis is 100. There were over 3,000. So 700, leaves us with 2,300 left. But in all indications that I'm getting from the people on the ground up there and the contacts I've made, they haven't really left. They're just dispersed out into the suburbs, and we're starting to see some activity in western Wisconsin, Hudson, Eau Claire, and Tom Homan today announced, hey, we're going to be drawing down further. I think there are indications that Milwaukee might be next.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever happens in the Twin Cities, that drawdown, those CBP agents are not going back to a physical land border. And those ICE agents are not going, to be dispersed throughout the nation. They are going to continue these tactics. And they are learning how to counter our tactics, using swarm intelligence, signal chat, other means to notify people in the local area what's going on. So this is going to continue. So we can't say that we won in the Twin Cities because we didn't.
Yeah.
It's just shifting elsewhere.
Got it.
Okay.
So let's talk about when you said what did we talk about a couple weeks ago that scared people? We talked about what might, it's obvious that Trump is laying the groundwork to mess with our elections in November. He said, Carolyn Levitt came and said, well, we're doing so well, or she said he joked when he was saying we're doing so well. Why do we need to have midterm elections? And then they obviously sent the FBI to Fulton County, which is a huge center of Democratic votes in Georgia, and they raided that that polling place only so they could probably trump up some BS excuse that somehow the election, there was some corruption in the election. So it's obvious they're building to try to either take away elections from us entirely or harass Democrats or harass voters so much that that turnout is just a disaster. So talk to us about what what you're feeling in terms of a strategy that they're going to try on us.
Okay, so I want to lay out a little background first.
Okay.
So I want everyone who's watching this to take a look at the behavior of this regressive Republican Party. Politicians, administration, media, okay? They are acting with a level of hubris and impunity that indicates to me that they do not feel like there will ever be, and they will ever be held accountable for their actions. The lies, you watch Pam Bondi, you watch Kristi Noem, the president, Steve Miller, any of them, it doesn't matter who. And then you watch these talking heads on Fox who are regurgitating all this stuff, and OANN and the right side of your AM dial. They are not behaving like they are concerned about the future. And that should scare the crap out of every single one of us, because I believe that they think the future is different from the one that we would expect in this nation. So why are they behaving this way? So let's take a look at that. Steve Bannon just made an announcement a couple days ago. And remember, Steve Bannon is a Trump whisperer, right? So as much as we may think that he's on the outside now, he's not. He is a Trump whisperer, and he said and made a call for the invocation of the Insurrection Act, the deployment of U.S. active duty soldiers and Marines, most likely, to the cities of America to preserve the vote. Okay, it's not preserve the vote, it's preserve the regime.
Yeah.
Then we've got Steve Miller, who is the one who cooked up all this immigration mayhem.
Yep.
If there's a domestic policy that is not related to finance, you need to look to Stephen Miller, because he is the Trump whisperer there.
Yep.
Okay. And this guy is completely out of control. So that's why we're seeing the brutality. But do not think there is not a plan. Don't think they aren't talking about what to do. And then thirdly, and this will be a new name probably for most people watching, Steve Marin. He is Trump's economic whisperer. He is the reason why the dollar is being devaluated. He is the reason why the tariffs are being put into place. And he wrote an article, which, hang on a second, I'm going to pull it up, which outlines exactly what the plan is economically for the future. And it's titled A User's Guide to Restructuring the Global Trading System. And it also has domestic impacts. That said, so all of that going on, I want to say this. Steve Bannon has an ego. So he let that information out way too soon, because he's an egotistical person and he wants to look important. Steve Miller moved too soon with ICE and CBP. More damage was done to their plan than success. And Steve Marin, same thing. Moved too soon. Conditions were not right. If there's any Hearts card players out there, they'll know what shooting the moon means. So you risk everything to try and get all 13 spades, or all 13 hearts and the queen of spades. But you got to have the right cards. These guys don't have the right cards, so they've screwed this all up. So now we're in a position where there's a couple different things that could happen. So Kirk, can you push that slide, please?
Yep.
The slides.
Yep.
Okay. So my apologies to everyone. 38 years in the Army left me with some Army stink on me. So we're going to talk about lines of effort. Okay. LOEs. So their first LOE, and you can see it now, Kirk, you just mentioned it, is to erode trust in our electoral systems, personnel, and institutions. They are trying to find something, anything they can use out of Fulton County and other locations. Don't think that Wisconsin won't be on the plate either. They're going to continue to do this, and if they can't find anything drastic enough, they will manufacture it. And I want to say this too: you can't trust a single thing that comes out of this government right now. Nothing. So, line of effort two. You heard Steve Bannon say it: conduct anti-immigrant operations at polling places. They will do this, and they will use the excuse that we're ensuring that illegal immigrants are not voting, because that's bad. And as patriotic Americans, we got to make sure that's not happening. What they will really be there to do is to intimidate voters, and try and make people stay at home.
Yep.
Third line of effort: they're going to have in advance lawsuits and justifications for recounts to contest election outcomes in the midterms. They're going to do it. The DOJ will be involved. And it is going to be like nothing we've ever seen. And once again, look, like, to the audience, I am not a conspiracy nut. Okay.
Yeah.
I have been focused on analyzing this nightmare
You know,
for over 8 years.
George, I want to reiterate, you're not a nut job. I have said some inflammatory things, but I don't think I'm a nut job. And I just talked to Kazim Rashid, who's been saying all this stuff, all this stuff about are we going to have free and fair elections? I mean, he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer. He went to law school. We were the sane Americans until America became insane. And so what we're saying is inflammatory and scary, but it's not wrong. I don't think, but I mean, but coming from a retired Army colonel, like, you would have been thrown out had you been a nut job, early on. You made up the ranks because you're a sensible guy. So anyways, I needed to reemphasize that, like, I hate having to act conspiratorial or to do this stuff, but it's just information that we have to start thinking about.
So the messages that this regime downplays, once they're stated, those are the messages that matter. Those are the things that you need to listen to, because they'll walk them back really fast because it was a mistake in letting it out. But that is really what they think and what they're planning to do. Okay. Yeah. Fourth line of effort: declare an insurrection, invoke the Insurrection Act to deploy U.S. military to states. It will only be to swing states or to states with critical congressional districts that look to maybe flip. And there will be, trust me, there will be political analysis about this. It will involve the RNC who will be complicit with the government in planning this. Like people need to know this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be coordinating with each other. They know exactly which congressional races need to be disrupted and which senatorial races need to be disruptive. And those are the locations where they are going to try to cause as much chaos as possible to keep people home. Okay. These lines of effort may not be sequential. They probably won't. They're probably all working kind of at the same time. The course of action that is the last resort is the Insurrection Act. If it looks like they aren't going to succeed with everything else they're doing, that will be triggered, because everybody needs to remember, if Democrats, I wish I could say progressives, but we're not there yet. We need to work on that. If Democrats take the House and the Senate, Trump is effectively a lame duck president for the rest of his term. And coming out of that term, he still has charges in the state of New York that the statute of limitations has not run out on, i.e., when Trump leaves the presidency, if there is not a Republican president behind him, he's going to jail.
Yeah.
And he knows that. He's also going to jail for a raft of other crap that's being done right now, the corruption, money going to offshore, all that stuff. So that's the last resort, is the Insurrection Act. I need to say this. Regressive Republican politicians at the national, state, county, and city level will be complicit. They will be. So if we think that somehow or another we're just going to muddle through this, it's not going to happen.
Yep.
Judges who are regressive Republicans and regressive media will be complicit. They will spread the message. They will light up the internet in anything that they find or can make a claim about. October surprise. There will be an October surprise. I guarantee it.
Yep.
I'm buying beer at the tap house if there isn't, for whoever shows up. But there will be a surprise. So what do we do about this? How do we fight this? And Kirk, you know me, I have been focused on this since friggin' 2016.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how all this works, who is aligned with who, what the end game is, what is the end state. Okay. So how do we counter this? So we have to come up with an organization to counter this regressive effort. That organization has to be at the grassroots level.
Yep.
It needs to be the biggest tent we can put up.
Yep.
Anyone and everyone who is concerned about the Constitution and their constitutional rights and their rights under U.S. code and their state constitution and their rights under their state's code,
yep,
they need to be involved.
Yep.
We need to organize, train, and equip volunteers so that we can make sure that our response to this effort that is occurring and will occur, the closer it's going to amplify, the closer we get to the midterms, that our response is effective, ethical, and moral.
Yep.
So I think you and I have talked about this. We need to start with Wisconsin. We've got roots here. We can build this thing. We have a following.
Yep.
But I think it's also going to be relatively easy to spread this effort to Minnesota, Michigan, Illinois, and potentially other states. I'm talking with another retired colonel in Iowa who's interested. That may be a little bit much of a push right now based on their politics, but
yeah.
So how do we do this? We create a volunteer-based organization of poll watcher teams. And the nice thing about Wisconsin is we can do this for the April 7th elections. Okay. So we can start building this organization. And I got to stress to people, November for some people might seem like like that's way out there, right?
Yeah.
It's literally tomorrow.
Yeah.
We have got to figure out how to safeguard our elections in our state.
Yep.
So, how do we get these people trained? Initially, right now, so we're building the organization. I'll talk about how we're doing that in a second. But in the meantime, I need everybody from Wisconsin who's watching this, or everybody who their friend shares it with. I need you to go to the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, and I need you to sign up for their poll worker training. Okay. So there's a link here. Kirk,
Yeah, hold on.
Wait, let me go back. I'm not going to try to pull it up, but
Oh
at
yeah,
any rate,
hold on.
um,
I'll while you're talking, I'll go to an email that you sent this to me, and I can link it in the chat
perfect,
with for people.
perfect. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep.
So we need to be trained by an organization that is currently accepted by the polling places in the state of Wisconsin, and this is the easiest way to do this quickly. And I'm looking at April if we can get enough people. That's kind of the test for this, right? So we send some teams out to critical polling areas based on the April election, um, and then sometime closer to the midterms, if we have the volunteers, if this resonates with people, if we can build the organization, then we do some type of rehearsal ahead of October 2026 so that we're ready in November to go out and safeguard our election. So what we're doing is we are forming what will be called very shortly in a 301(c) nonprofit, the Wisconsin Committee of Safety. And for those of you who are Revolutionary War buffs, you will recognize the name Committee of Safety. And I think that as it was apt and applied to 1775, it perfectly applies to 2026. That same approach of organizing against a tyrannical government that is not representing the majority of people. So there's a mission statement there. People can read it, but the bottom line is this: we are going to focus on the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin, its voting laws, statutes, and annotations. And our goal is to preserve state sovereignty and the rights of the citizens of Wisconsin during that election and beyond. So, key tasks. What do we have to do to get there? Kirk, you and I have already talked about this.
Yep.
We got to get a 301(c)(4) nonprofit stood up. I hope to have that done within the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
We need to establish a website for volunteers. We got to do this fast.
Yep.
We need to figure out how to organize state and county staff to facilitate that organization, training, and equipping, and then figure out some funding mechanisms to do this. And so I want to touch on a couple things here. This is modeled on the 1776 Committee of Correspondence, Inspection, and Safety in the province of Massachusetts Bay. That's where our current nation started.
Yep.
And it's a perfect model for us right now.
Yep.
There's a description of what a 501(c)(4) is. I'm sorry, I said 301 earlier. It's 501. That category promotes social welfare or the common good and general welfare of the community. That's what we are going to be all about.
Yep.
We need to get this up and running no later than 16 March. That is only 230 days from the midterms.
Yep.
We need to do a concept test on 7 April. And that's 22 days prior to that. So establish state staff, county leads, volunteers, and Kirk, your point all along as we've been discussing this has been we need to figure out what the key districts are.
Yeah. And we have the political connections in our super PAC to get those, but it's obviously going to be the 3rd congressional district of Wisconsin because that is the swingiest of our congressional districts, which is Eau Claire. Like all the people who live there who are Democrats, where ICE is going to go is going to be La Crosse, Eau Claire, and Stevens Point.
Yep.
The 1st congressional district is like Waukesha, Janesville, or Beloit, and that's Brian Stile. He's a little dangerous, but not terribly dangerous. But in terms of statewide elections, like the governor's race, obviously Milwaukee and Madison are the huge juggernauts for Democrats, and so you can expect ICE to be in Milwaukee to suppress turnout in Milwaukee and Madison. So that's just Wisconsin. there are swing congressional district races throughout other Midwestern states as well, especially Michigan is one of the swingiest as well. So, like, what you're planning, is easily replicable. But you got to follow state. The federal government's, they're the enemy at the moment. So the state laws are the ones, and the state constitution are the ones that we got to follow.
So, that being said, Kirk, talking about other states. So this Sunday, I'm meeting with a group of veterans who have formed an organization called For the Common Defense, and I will be coordinating with them as well, in hopes that we can get kind of this Midwest cluster of organized states who are prepared for the November 7th election, and can potentially counter, or at the very least record and make available to media what the real story is, rather than something spun by media.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our goal. So I'm putting this out. Okay. So this is the email for the Wisconsin Committee of Safety. I need to ask this group for a volunteer now. I need somebody who is wicked smart in terms of setting up web pages, dealing with media, setting up a system whereby we can have people volunteer online.
Yeah.
Setting up a system whereby people can donate online.
Yeah.
So somebody listening, and I know you're out there, and I'm going to tell you this. On November 26, 1982, I looked myself in the mirror and I said, if not you, then who else? And that's when my service started. So I'm looking at you right now. I'm looking at you. I can see you through the camera. And if not you, then who else?
Yeah.
Okay. I need your help. We need your help. So please, somebody who can do websites and do all of that stuff. I'm a retired infantry and air defense artillery officer. I know how to blow shit up. So I need your help desperately.
So George, I'm behind you, hook, line, and sinker. And so what the Minocqua Brewing Company will add to this is some organizational structure. We obviously can't, we're a super PAC, you're a C4, we're separated. And it's good that we're separated because I got a lot of targets on my back, and I want you to run this thing, but I will, do the best I can to help plug this organization into others who care about election protection. I mean, so Wisconsin it's not like nobody's thinking about this. There are nonprofits galore thinking about this stuff. But what George offers is, there's not in the diaspora of progressive activists, seldom do you have, a retired Army colonel who is like upholding the Constitution, for his entire career. That knows how to lead, that knows how to inspire veterans who are also very pissed off about what's going on. Potentially leading an organization where you can have veterans poll watching and trying to create safety. So this, you're doing the perfect thing at the right time. I'm backing you 100%. We'll try to support you. He needs his own folks to get things going, but we're going to, do the best we can to move swiftly on this. And obviously we're going to have to raise some money, and luckily I'm pretty damn good at that. So I'm all behind you, George. And I think this is when you came up to with this idea, I said, this is what we have to focus on for the next 9 months or however long we have until November.
So just for the audience, I go by Mason because Colonel George Mason disappeared in 2021 when he retired. And I just went back to being just plain Mason. So know that. But Kirk, thanks for all of this. Thanks for the visibility. I do want to give a quick update to everybody on Andres, the immigrant who was detained by ICE and his family that so many people supported. So can I have a couple minutes just to do that?
For sure.
Awesome. So here's the status. In discussion with the immigration attorney and the woman who is caretaking Andres's wife and 13-year-old son. So he has apparently been moved to Texas, to El Paso, which indicates that he is self-deporting because he just wants out at this stage of the game. So he may be returning to Colombia soon. You guys have raised $12,000, I think $378 last I checked. The goal is 15. So please go back. And I know I've been asking you guys for so much lately. But it's helping. And in this instance, it's helping his young wife and their son to get back to Colombia. And here's what's insane. Okay. I want you to understand how crazy this country is right now. We can't allow her to go on the ICE app or to present herself anywhere because they will detain her and her son immediately. So we have to use an underground railroad to get his wife and his son out of this country. And I'm sorry, I'm really hot about this because it is so disgusting. The United States in 2026, we have an underground railroad to get the spouses, significant others, and loved ones of people detained out of the country so they don't wind up in a prison somewhere without medical attention.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. We are going to get Andres' wife and son out of the country safely. But we need a little bit more help. If you can please just give a little bit more. Thank you.
And that GoFundMe is most easily found on our Facebook post from like a few days ago, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, we're on StreamYard, so putting the links on the chat is not the easiest way to do it. So go back to find that GoFundMe on our Facebook page of Naco Brewing Company. It's from a few days ago, and that's where the link exists, and you can donate there. All right. Thanks so much, George. This is just this is the first kind of introduction of a plan to protect our vote in 2026, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about it in the coming months. But we have to dig deep and start organizing. Appreciate you being on, George. Appreciate all you're doing.
So just for everybody, stay strong. I know a lot of you are getting tired. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Self-care. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Stay strong. Stay the course.
Cheers, brother.